What you are going to hear is proof that a University of North Dakota police officer lied to North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation detectives about a police shooting. In the first clip, you will hear Heather Hopkins talking to Jared Broughton immediately after Broughton shot David James Elliott, an unarmed man, in the Altru Hospital parking lot in Grand Forks. In the first clip, you will hear Heather Hopkins telling Jared Broughton that she saw David Elliott almost run over a police officer, thus justifying his shooting of Elliott. She ambitiously agrees to sign a witness statement swearing to that. In the second clip, you will hear Heather Hopkins tell BCI investigators she couldn't see what happened at that critical moment. In the third clip, you will hear Heather Hopkins tell the BCI investigators she can't remember the conversation she had with Broughton. She says she can't remember what Broughton asked her when he got back in the car.
All the officers good?
Yeah. You see him was trying to run him over?
Yep.
I'm gonna need you to fill out a witness statement, okay?
Okay. And then from what I can, well, when he floors on the gas pedal is when Jared fired shots. And then from what I could tell, the truck stopped and the officers went towards the truck. And then the name shot.
So, when the vehicle accelerates, could you see that the officer gets spun out of the vehicle? Do you almost get run over?
I couldn't tell.
Okay. At that point, at any point, does Officer Broughton come back into the UNDPD vehicle to talk with you at anything?
Yes, after the ambulance came and they took the driver on a gurney inside, he came back into the car. And sat down in the car.
Did he say anything?
He did say something to me. I honestly can't remember what he said. I want to say he was just asking if I was okay. But I don't remember what he asked me. I know I asked if he was okay. He said yep. And that's pretty much it for conversation.
Okay.
This video is going to show you that the Grand Forks Police Department in Grand Forks, North Dakota illegally edited officer body cam video to cover up the truth about the shooting of an unarmed man by a University of North Dakota police officer. First, I'm going to show you officer body cam video that shows David James Elliott being shot at 12:35 a.m. February 28, 2015 in the emergency room parking lot of Altru Hospital in Grand Forks. As you watch the brief clip of the shooting, note the time in the bottom right-hand corner. Because the time on the officer body cam is in Greenwich Mean Time, it says 06:35, which translates to 12:35 a.m. Central Standard Time. After you watch the officer body cam of the shooting, I am then going to show you police dash cam video that shows David James Elliott at 12:39 a.m., 3 minutes after the alleged shooting time, sitting in his vehicle atop the Columbia Road Bridge in Grand Forks. And it's going to be as simple as that. Here we go.
Watch out for him to reverse. Shots fired! Shots fired!
Now that you've seen David James Elliott allegedly being shot at 12:35 a.m., I am going to show you a screenshot from officer dashcam video that shows Elliott is actually atop the Columbia Road Bridge at 12:39 a.m. I'm using a screenshot because the dashcam video file uses special software that cannot be opened in an editor. Now that we've seen police dashcam video show David Elliott atop the bridge at 12:39 a.m., let's look at what Sergeant Mark Ellingson's body cam says is going on at 12:39 a.m. You will see the shooting is allegedly already over.
I got 38, go ahead.
Are you guys 10-2?
Yeah, he's, we're 10-2 and we've got plenty of units.
Now we are going to look at the officer dashcam of Grand Forks Police Officer Dan Harvala. Harvala's dashcam shows what is going on at the scene in front of the emergency room, where the shots can be heard at, spoiler alert, 12:47 a.m. Look at the screenshots of Harvala's dashcam. It has been converted to black and white to obscure details. All other video captured on Harvala's dashcam that night was in color. The footage that captured the shooting scene is altered. And finally, what did Grand Forks Police Chief Mark Nelson do when he realized Right Into Action was obtaining police cam video to prove the details surrounding the shooting of David James Elliott were being covered up? Here's what he did. On June 26, 2016, Chief Mark Nelson issued a special order changing the retention dates of police videos in advance of a multi-agency conspiracy to destroy evidence of an attempted murder of an unarmed man by a police officer. What you are going to see is exclusive, never-before-seen video from a police shooting investigation in North Dakota. This is video taken from body cam of former University of North Dakota police officer Jared Broughton. Broughton shot David James Elliott, an unarmed man, on February 28, 2015 in the parking lot of Altru Hospital in Grand Forks, North Dakota. From the beginning, Right Into Action has diligently reported the pursuit and shooting of David Elliott was a premeditated attempted murder of an unarmed man by a police officer. I, Timothy Charles Homseth, have reported this since the time of the shooting and even stated it publicly on air during a radio interview on KNOX with radio host Jared Thomas. The motive for the police hit on David Elliott is beyond the scope of this video, but may likely involve the thousands of pills found in Elliott's pickup truck after the shooting, and a drug trafficking operation being run through the University of North Dakota, its athletic department, as well as by rogue members of law enforcement. Attempting to bring this information to the public, Right Into Action has obtained various video through public records requests, which reveal the Grand Forks Police Department has redacted out specific portions of body cam video captured while the police were talking to David Elliott atop the Columbia Road Bridge in Grand Forks. I am now going to be able to show you a glimpse of what the police are trying to hide. And, spoiler alert, the redactions are covering up Broughton's first attempt to kill Elliott, but it's gun jammed. It's important to know, David Elliott had been on his cell phone with 911 since the beginning of the pursuit, and that 911 call lasted 107 minutes. The public has yet to see transcripts of that 911 call, and law enforcement is refusing to turn over records to me, citing federal case Homseth versus City of Grand Forks et al., which I filed after Grand Forks Police Department Chief Mark Nelson issued a special order to change the retention dates of police cam evidence to stop my independent investigation. Right Into Action obtained the specific video you are going to see in a moment from the North Dakota Attorney General's Bureau of Criminal Investigation, That is the agency that investigated the police shooting. The body cam video was found at the scene of the Elliott shooting underneath Broughton's squad car, where he and other officers attempted to hide it. No dash cam was officially obtained from Broughton's car, although it was supposed to be running. After the shooting, Broughton and his lawyer claimed the only reason Broughton opened fire on David Elliott was because he thought a Grand Forks police officer was being dragged by Elliott's vehicle. But that's not true. Never was true, and now I'm going to show you why. One other note. David Elliott contacted Right Into Action and told me Broughton attempted to shoot him atop the Columbia Road Bridge in Grand Forks several minutes prior to the actual shooting, but Broughton's gun jammed. Right Into Action had long since reported that Broughton was stalking Elliott. In this first clip, you're going to hear Officer Broughton. He's talking to UNDPD intern Heather Hopkins, who is in the car with him. Broughton and Hopkins are diabolically plotting a confrontation with Elliott atop the Columbia Road Bridge. Listen now as you hear Broughton say, "I'm going to get in front of him and see if he rams our vehicle." Also, after you hear Broughton say those words to Hopkins, you will hear him call dispatch and make a seemingly innocuous request for permission to, quote, box him in, sounding over the radio as an everyday well-intentioned police officer who's just doing his job.
Yeah, I can give her a call. I'm on the Columbia Rouge.
I'm gonna get in front of him and see if he rams our vehicle. Central 226, or you want to contact a PD unit and see if they want us maybe box them in?
I believe he's talking downstairs right now on top of the overpass.
Well, that would be a negative, but sure.
As you heard, Broughton was told by dispatch that the police were talking to Elliott atop the overpass. Broughton sounded agitated that his request had been denied. It makes sense he's agitated, because now he's going to have to just shoot Elliott for no reason. In the next clip, you will hear Broughton get out of his vehicle. Note, the wind is very loud and makes it difficult to hear what is being said. However, some of the dialogue between Elliott and the police can be heard, which we'll take a look at after this clip. Despite the high wind, several distinct statements and words can be heard that show David Elliott is scared and the police are assuring him that nobody is going to hurt him. We hear, "Elliott, show us your hands." "Elliott, we're here to help you." "We're not going to hurt you." You can then hear Elliott say the words, quote, "gun pointed at me," and then what sounds like, quote, fucking shoot me, or you're going to fucking shoot me. You can then hear a click. Jared Broughton attempting to discharge his firearm. And stay tuned, because Broughton discusses dropping a bullet with Hopkins when he gets back in the car. You can also hear an officer say, "We're getting all true over here." This is very likely because Elliott is attempting to reach the safety of medical personnel. I am now going to replay the piece of the segment where you can hear Broughton attempt to fire his weapon. You will now hear an officer over the radio say, "His back tire is leaking air." And then Broughton says, "There we go." And then Hopkins says, "Nice." And then Broughton whispers, "Got him." A little further on, you will hear Broughton say, "I think I might have lost it," and opens his door. He then says, "I heard it fall." And Hopkins says, "Yeah, I heard it too." Then you will hear Broughton, clearly knowing his body cam is picking up his voice, attempts to cover for what he just said about dropping something. He says, quote, "I had to drop a bullet too, 'cause," and then Hopkins says, quote, "I saw you drop something." Broughton then says, quote, "I was doing a press check to make sure I was good and golden."
His back passenger tire is leaking.
There we go.
At least a couple.
Yeah, it's always.
253 back down to about half a mile an hour. Vehicle coming over the overpass. He broke from our blockade here. They look like he's not. I believe it's the foreign national, and that would explain.
That might have lost it. I heard it fall off.
Yeah, I heard it too.
Trying to kill himself on the window. Looks like we got all four to play.
We're just playing this out.
What does he want to happen?
85-9. I'm going to head back on the north end. See if I can stop more cars from coming over. Unless you would want me somewhere up there. Negative, you can go that way. I'm going to go onto the south end here. At least we can divert traffic onto Demers Avenue. That's where it looks like.
I had to drop a bullet too because
I saw you doing
so I'll
something
just
over
over
there.
here until you need me otherwise.
doing a press check to make sure I was good
Yeah, but
golden.
You are now going to hear Jared Broughton shoot David Elliott, including in the face, head, and body, reportedly blowing off 2 of his fingers and a bullet ripping out his eardrum. You will then hear police officers begin to tase this unarmed and defenseless man.
Get your hands up! Get them up! Get your hands up! Get your hands up! Get your hands up now! You're gonna get tased if you don't get your hands where we can see them! Get them up!
10-4. Shots fired.
God.
You alright?
I'm fine. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Put your hands behind your back. Do it now. Yeah, how about you step out here?
Can we get him on his back?
Searching up there.
Nicole, he's breathing. Here's the doctor. Hey, I need airway. Paul, break out here.
Detectives on the way, please.
Hey, you.
Guys, get his jacket off. He's just breaking through open. Okay, put on airway. I'm gonna get this one. Lights, please. Guys, we need airway. We need monitor set up. Need an IV. Yep.
Okay, now you are going to hear what goes on after the shooting between Broughton and other officers. You are going to hear Broughton repeatedly say he shot Elliott because he was worried about another officer's safety. You will hear quotes such as, "I was trying to make sure you guys were all right. I didn't want him to run you down. I didn't want him to run you down right over there." And then you'll hear the officer say, "Oh no, I wasn't worried about him running me down." And then you'll hear Broughton say, "I saw you chase him." The officer says, "I was just trying to get around him." Then you will hear Broughton get into the car with Hopkins and continue to plot. You will hear Broughton say to Hopkins, "Did you see him when he was trying to run him over?" And Hopkins replies, "Yep." Broughton then says, "I'm going to need you to file a witness," referring to a witness statement.
I was trying to make sure that you guys
I didn't want him to run you down.
13th Avenue, direct traffic, eastbound on 13 from Columbia. Hold direct traffic, just south of the Skyway.
We'll pull the ambulance up, back it up, so the ass end is right here.
Oh, she's just put in. 38, go ahead.
Did you shoot or who shot?
Officer shot.
Oh, you guys sent in?
I had it on, but it broke off.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
You pulled?
I own some.
We're gonna do that. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just. I don't want to own some.
Hold up. Speaking sure my shit. You're good, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying you're good.
Stand by.
Face to face instead of all these squad cars. Boom, he's gone.
I didn't want him to run me down right over here.
I wasn't worried about him.
I saw you
running me
kept
down.
chasing.
I was just trying to get around him when he took off. No, I was just trying to say, hey, we got the officer on his way here. Just stop and just talk to me. And boom, he was gone. So you need to take a seat in your car, call your supervisor, or do you want me to call your supervisor?
I guess I sure can.
I'll call your supervisor.
Okay.
Go take a seat in your car.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah,
you not hurt?
I'm good. I'm good. I just wanted to make sure you.
No, I'm
guys are
fine.
good.
I'm good. Don't worry about me. I walk up to him and say, hey, knock it off. The officer's on his way. Because all he sees is squad cars. Boom! Well, sit on your car. They're going to be, your supervisor will be on his way. I'm sure you're going to be sitting down for a while. Okay? Yeah. So just hold on. Walk up it. Knock it out. The officer on the way.
5963.
Go ahead.
You want to head up here at the corner here?
You know, I guess we can 25 later. You can just link up with 638. And we're going to clear. We're sure they're going to be on the service with it.
All the officers good?
Yeah. You see him was trying to run him over?
Yep.
I'm going to need you to fill out a witness statement, okay?
Okay.
As you will see in a moment, through different videos I'm going to show you, Broughton's statement, quote, "Did you see him when he was trying to run him over?" is an absolute lie with no foundation in reality whatsoever. Even the officer he tried to claim he was protecting said he was not in danger. Broughton's statement shows he is lying and scheming all the way along, and Hopkins is in on it. Broughton's attitude and dual-minded and deceitful disposition is completely consistent with what he said to Hopkins on the bridge when he said, quote, "I'm going to get in front of him and see if he rams our vehicle." What you are now going to see is dash cam showing David Elliott had completely stopped in front of the emergency room and is on his cell phone with a police officer who he's been talking to for some 107 minutes. You will see Elliott is very angry and pointing. He is pointing at Broughton, who he sees approaching him again. Note, I had to use a special screenshot program to show you the dash cam because it will not load into my editor.
27's on his way. PUNTA 19.
Was anybody talking to him?
10-4, we still have him on the phone, but he requested to speak with 27 in person, and he's the only one he'll talk to.
I understand that. Stop. 10-4, I'll be there in just a few seconds. 259, myself and 7062, we're tight. Into reverse. Fire, shot fire.
47 after midnight.
You will now see body cam of the shooting. What you see is Elliott taking off when he sees Broughton coming, and the police officers that are out of their vehicles are chasing after his truck. There is absolutely nothing in the video that supports Broughton's statement, quote, "Did you see him when he was trying to run him over?" Note, you will also realize as you view this body cam footage that the timestamp in the bottom right-hand corner is the wrong time. It shows the shooting happening at 0636 Greenwich Mean Time, which translates to 12:36 a.m. Central Standard Time. That time completely conflicts with the dash cam time that you saw in the previous clip, which showed the shooting happening at 12:47 a.m., although the exact same time, place, and events are being depicted. That is because the body cam footage has been illegally altered with a video editor while in police custody to hide the events that occurred several minutes before the shooting. The official time of the shooting, according to Grand Forks Police Chief Mark Nelson, University of North Dakota Police Chief Eric Plummer, and Grand Forks County Sheriff Bob Rost, in a televised joint press conference, was approximately, quote, 12:45 a.m. Okay, let's take a look at the body cam.
627's on his way. Front 1019.
Is anybody talking to him?
10-4, we still have him on the phone, but he requested to speak with 27 in person, and he's the only one he'll talk to.
I understand that, but he needs to stop. I'll get there in just a few seconds. Center 259, myself and 7062 with tonight. Watch out for him to reverse. Shots fired, shots fired.
Shot that.
24 left minute.
Get your hands up! Get them up! Get your hands up! Get your hands up!
Going to taser.
Go to taser.
Get your hands up now! You're gonna get tased if you don't get your hands where we can see them! Get them up!
Go to taser. I got you. Go to taser. Tase him. Tase him.
Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Stand by.
Get him up. Get him out. Get him out.
Get out, girl! Get out, girl! Put your hands behind your back. Do it now!
This segment is not going to contain the fuzzy picture aspect of the video file from the body cam that Broughton wore, notably, in a fashion it would not capture images. The reason you will not see the picture aspect of the file is because this segment of the file acted very erratically in the software, completely different than the rest of the file, and contained multiple anomalies that are going to be investigated further by Right Into Action. However, I managed to get the audio to play after converting it down to a simple MP3 audio file. You are now going to hear Broughton talking to his supervisor. He tells his supervisor that he shot David Elliott because he thought Elliott might drag Sergeant Ellingson, the officer that was approaching the vehicle. As you recall, Sergeant Ellingson is the officer that was heard after the shooting telling Broughton that he was in no danger of being dragged. You are then going to hear Broughton admit he was the only officer to pull his weapon. Upon admitting this, Broughton makes a very curious statement when he says, quote, "Well, like I said, I pulled. I think I'm the only one that did. I think so, yeah. I was the only one out of my vehicle, I think," unquote. Why would Broughton claim to be the only one out of his vehicle immediately after saying he opened fire to protect an officer that was out of his vehicle?
Yep, we're good. Okay. What's that? I was the one that pulled. Well, Sergeant Ellingson, he came up alongside of the pickup there, and the guy took off with him. And it looked, at first I didn't know if he was going to be drugged or what, and I pulled on the vehicle and he stopped. What's that? right where we are in front of the Ultra here. Like I said, Sergeant Ellingson started approaching the vehicle. I got out of my vehicle, I turned, and then the guy started to take off, and Sergeant Ellingson was, I didn't want to be drugged because he's up on the curb in a snowy area, you know what I mean? No, yeah, I was involved. Yeah. What do you mean? Yep, she's good. What's that? Yep. Alright. Well, like I said, I pulled, so I'm assuming, I think I'm the only one who did. I think so, yeah. I think I was the only one out of my vehicle, I think.
In this clip, you will hear what sounds like an officer advising Broughton to take his body cam off when he says, "You know, you better take." Then you can hear another officer say to Broughton, "Did you dump? Did you drop around?" A voice is again heard saying, quote, "drop around." And then another voice says, quote, "actually holstered up." Everything these officers are talking about is what occurred in the illegally edited and improperly redacted and spliced segments of body cam evidence I obtained, which are now the subject of a federal lawsuit I filed. The tampered with videos captured the events on top of the Columbia Road Bridge when Elliott can be heard protesting that someone is pointing a gun at him and going to shoot him. And then Broughton can be heard attempting to discharge his weapon and dropping a bullet. David Elliott told me, Timothy Charles Holmseth, that Broughton tried to shoot him on top of the bridge, but his gun jammed.
How you doing?
Good, I'm good.
Right?
Yep.
Did you call supervisor yet?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I think he's right down there walking up maybe.
You got her right coming? You know her?
Yep, she's the intern.
The intern? Okay. You got her right coming? For her? She can get out of here.
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah, he said he should be on his way.
Who's coming? Michael?
I think it's Thorpe.
Is that right, Tomeo?
Yeah, I'm good. I wanted to make sure Ellington wasn't going to get ran over. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We better.
And did you drop him out? Okay, it's so much better. Actually, holstered up
Now, you just heard Broughton take off his body cam and throw it under his squad car. It is a fact he threw it under his squad car because that is where the North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation found it and documented it as such on the inventory sheet. Broughton was talking to several officers when he took the cam off, so they all know what he did. Moving images of the body cam being taken off Broughton were captured for a split second, which I'm going to show you. The segment involving the body cam was amongst the data on the file that seemed to have something wrong with it. I managed to use a screensaver program to capture a glimpse of it, which I will show you now. Also, in the BCI's post-police shooting interview with Broughton, Broughton told the investigators he wasn't sure where his body cam was, but noted it might be in his car. Watch closely in the small box located in the top right-hand corner of the screen. A few other facts about University of North Dakota police officer Jared Broughton. According to BCI investigation records, Broughton was not scheduled to work on the night in question, but for some reason did. One then has to consider that this rookie cop had a female intern with him. If he wasn't scheduled to work, why then would he have an intern riding along with him? Even more suspicious, the BCI said he was not wearing his regular uniform. This creates serious questions about whether or not Broughton was actually really even on duty when he involved himself in this pursuit and shooting. Broughton's dash cam was never submitted as evidence because he claims he did not have it working. Is that how he trained intern Hopkins regarding the dash cam part of the job? It gets better. Broughton's body cam was supposedly placed improperly on his non-regular uniform by intern Hopkins, and the video lens captured nothing. So instead of showing the intern how to fix a body cam onto your person, he has her do it? So let's break this down. The rookie cop that's not scheduled to work and not wearing a uniform unilaterally decides to suddenly train in an intern during a police pursuit, doesn't put in the dash cam drive, and has the intern place his body cam on his shirt improperly. Broughton was disciplined in writing by UND Police Chief Eric Plummer for his conduct with his cameras. And then, less than a year later, Grand Forks Police Chief Mark Nelson hired Broughton to the exception of other candidates. In the summer of 2016, when Right Into Action began requesting video of the shooting, Nelson abruptly issued a special order to change the retention dates of cam evidence so they could destroy the evidence of this attempted murder of an unarmed man by a police hitman.
The following post and video were shared with the COPBLOCK network by Timothy Holmseth via the COPBLOCK.org submissions page. Date of incident: February 28, 2015. Department involved: Grand Forks, North Dakota, Police Department, University of North Dakota Police Department. Officers involved: Officer A. Brighton, Officer Heather Hopkins. Attorney General's phone no. 701-328-2210. If you have a video, personal story involving police misconduct and/or abuse, or commentary about a law enforcement-related news story, we would be happy to have you submit it. You can find some advice on how to get your submission published on the COPBLOCK network within this post. Click the banner to submit content to COPBLOCK.org. Click the banner to submit content to COPBLOCK.org. I have relentlessly pursued public records regarding the police shooting of David James Elliott, an unarmed man, by a University of North Dakota police officer, which occurred on February 28, 2015. In June of 2016, Grand Forks Police Department Chief of Police Mark Nelson issued a special order that changed the retention dates of police cam evidence. This was done so his department could destroy the body cam and dash cam videos of the shooting that I was regularly requesting. I discovered the police used video editing software to alter and splice video files of the shooting. Nelson's outrageous and obnoxious action regarding the special order prompted me to file Holmseth v. City of Grand Forks et Alabama in United States District Court. That action is presently pending in federal court. I most recently obtained a North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation (BC) interview of Heather Hopkins, an intern that was riding in the squad car of the shooter, and Officer A. Brighton. I compared it to audio I obtained from Brighton's body cam, which revealed Hopkins and Brighton were conspiring against David Elliott and that Hopkins lied to BC investigators. The video I am submitting to COPBLOCK contains the actual audio of Heather Hopkins lying to BC investigators about the shooting. Audio in another video I produced reveals David Elliott was not fleeing the police per se, rather, he was trying to stay away from Brighton because he knew Brighton was going to shoot him. Evidence strongly suggests the police pursuing David Elliott knew him and the larger circumstances involved drug trafficking connected to police. The Grand Forks police are attempting to hide and/or destroy video that shows Brighton trying to shoot David Elliott several minutes before the actual shooting, but his gun jammed. The sound of the misfire can be heard on audio I previously published. David Elliott can be heard telling police officers that someone has a gun pointed at him and is going to shoot him. He was right, and that is exactly what happened. North Dakota Attorney General B.C. Hopkins records request essentially, the police get away with this 99 out of 100 times, because it requires time, money, and an independent investigation to expose these multi-agency conspiracies by police that are acting as a gang in violation of RICO. Unarmed actually reprimanded Brighton in writing for matters involving his police cams, because his body cam captured no video and was found hidden under his car. His dash cam disappeared. Nonetheless, Brighton was later hired by the Grand Forks Police Department, and Hopkins received a job from the University of North Dakota Police Department. Timothy Holmes F. WritingIntoAction.com